melt is when I'm ocean waves.
Today on the New Year's Day version of Nova Legends podcast, I have Hayfield coach Carlos Poindexter, whose team just finished the 2022 calendar year undefeated, which I'm not aware of any other team that has ever done that. Maybe there is. If someone knows of one, please let me know. But Carlos, Happy New Year and thanks for joining me.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course.
It's always good. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, it's always good to, you drop your knowledge on us. And I've been pretty good luck to you, but everything you've done was good luck. So can't take
right.
credit. Yeah. So first of all, after you guys won the state championship last year, undefeated state championship, how did it change your life? Were people different to you? Were your players any different? Were parents? How did winning a state championship and the way you guys did it, how did it change your life?
I won't say that it changed my life. I feel like, I guess I'm just more recognizable and like people, know me more. I see more random people want, speak to me and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But other than that, everything's still the same.
Yeah.
I'm a humble guy, so I don't be around too much. Stay with the family.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if you look at it's hard to believe this because you're a young guy, but when you talk about the greatest coaches in Northern Virginia history, you're in the conversation now, and it's interesting because me and you grew up. Our idea of a coach was like this old dude, or because you're young when you're playing, and you look up coaches as these older dudes, and you're kind of a new generation coach. You found a way to do things with the kids today with the social media and stuff. Maybe you don't get too introspective about it, but what do you attribute your success to as a coach?
I wish I really knew. I don't really know, but I'll say, I try to be as righteous as I can when it comes to the game of basketball, and I keep it 100 with these kids, and just let them know, I do care for them. I care for them on a personal level, and I want them to do well on the court, and hopefully they can earn scholarships or a chance to play at the next level. I'm really big on just trying to make sure that our kids if they want to play basketball, like finding them an opportunity to play at the next level. So, they run through doors and walls for me.
Yeah, I mean they sure do, and I one thing that you've done, or maybe you helped to do, at least it seems to me, is kids are now transferring from the private schools to public schools. Now that's always been a case where it happened. Chris Kazemka came back. What was his teammate? His name also. He came back from Paul VI as well. I can't think of his name. Yeah, I can't think of his name now. But great player also. But now it seems like there's a kid from O'Connell went to Madison. But it seems like the public school basketball, we have some momentum now. It seems like, and I don't think Freedom Woodbridge is going to hurt this either. I think it's actually back in playing for your public school. And when you look at the scores in the preseason, I mean in the early part of the season, Madison, I watched that game. They gave O'Connell all they could handle. Alexandria City, who
beat BI.
They beat BI. No one really knew what they were going to be. Chris Jolly said they were going to be tough, but a lot of people didn't really know what to expect out of them. They had some coaching changes last year. You guys have always been able to handle yourself against private schools, even last year. But it seems like the public schools have some momentum now.
Yeah, I feel like it is. I say this too. I feel like it's a down year overall for 2023s, and I mean 2024 is phenomenal when it comes to players. So like I feel like 2024s, the public school wise, you see a lot of talent with the 2024 class. So I think that's a good reason why that public schools are fairly well so far. Yeah. But I do think I think is a lot of our top players have transferred out, like 4-star, 5-star guys. They've transferred out and went to that new NIBC league where like IMG, Mount Vernon, like they created their own league, and some of those players are transferring out and going over there.
Yeah.
But overall, in the totality, I do feel like Northern Virginia, Prince William County, all of that. I feel like we're putting out a decent brand of basketball. and hopefully more kids want to transfer back to their high school so that the brand can continue to get better.
Well, I've heard rumors. I'm not sure if you heard rumors that the VHSL may eventually allow players to reclass in public school. Now, it's just a rumor. I haven't seen anything, official about this, but to me, that is the biggest advantage that private schools have is that, kids can get older. Like look, Walter Coleman used that year, and now he has a Division I offer. It would have been much tougher for him to do that as an 18-year-old kid at West Springfield. But I hear rumors. Have you heard that rumor that they may allow reclass?
No, I haven't heard that rumor. The rumor that I did hear was that they'll start having a middle school basketball starting next year or even this year. I heard that. That would help. That would at least help on the basketball side. That would help us.
Yeah, I think it all depends
to be able
on
to get those kids, and in your program a little earlier.
Yeah, I think it all depends upon the youth programs that they're in. Sometimes some of the kids are in such great youth programs, the middle school could be a little bit disruptive to what they're already doing. I think it all depends on.
That's true too.
Yeah, because I know, for example, my son was a travel soccer player, and the middle school team of soccer, they have middle school soccer, middle school sports in Arlington, and it's a little bit of a mess. I mean, usually it's just it's a teacher who may not have a lot of experience coaching who does it. So I think it could be great, but I think it could be problematic. I know that Coach Overton said that it's hard to incentivize folks to coach middle school football in Prince William County because you really can't pay them a lot. So
well, I know over here at Hayfield, if that does happen, it's going to be a Hayfield coaching.
Right. Yeah. So
it's going to be somebody. One of my guys are definitely going to be coaching the middle school. That middle school if it happens.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be exciting. Well, when you look around the region in the state this year, what are some of the surprises that you've seen? Obviously, we mentioned Alexandria City. They've been a surprise. Potomac has been able to keep their level up. They graduated a great point guard, Kyle Honore last year, unfortunately, who passed, but they've been able to keep their level up. But what are some of the surprises you've seen as you look around the region and the state?
I want to say that it's a surprise, but I feel like Battlefield hasn't been getting enough credit for what they've been doing. Yeah. I texted Randy Bills like two or 3 days ago. I was like, man, people got to start bringing up your name a lot more, man, because in your program, because you continue to do it year in, year out, and right now they're 11-0. I think they're 10 or 11-0 or something like that. So I feel like them. And then you say Alexandria City. I feel like Alexandria City is like really a dark horse in that Patriot district. They could give South County a run for their money if all fails well, especially if South County doesn't get JMO back for whatever reason that is. But I saw that JMO hasn't been playing, but South County's still been winning. So that's a testament to what Mike Robb is doing over there and how good of the talent that they have in the South County program, man, because those kids are young, but they're still able to get victories right now. And, so that's good. Oh, South Lakes. I know South Lakes lost, 6 seniors, and they have Jordan Scott, but I think that they're doing a heck of a job as well. I still status quo for those guys for the most part. And that's pretty much all I really know. I want to see the backcourt at Freedom. I want to see that game. I want to see Freedom versus Potomac the second time around because one of the guards from Freedom didn't play. So I want to see that game because I think that's going to be an interesting game.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think who else. I think that's it for the most part that I've been keeping track of. I've been looking into my district a little bit more. Falls Church is doing a decent job with the new coach that they have. I think they only lost 2 games. And then Jefferson, they're doing a decent job playing close games. They play Edison very close. Yeah. And Edison's doing a phenomenal job right now as well. So that's another team. Trey Ford doing a great job with those guys, getting them ready. I'm sorry, I'm a little sick.
Yeah, it's okay. Coach Ford had a couple of nice wins in his earlier in his early coaching career. Alexandria City, if you can win on the road at BI and also Potomac, you got to be taken seriously. And South Lakes, my thing with them is they're going to get better with age. They're going to get better with experience because they have a lot of young players that are playing
Right.
that no varsity experience. Battlefield, the challenge of Battlefield is they are really, really good, but they're a very unique looking team. When you first see them, when you see them in pregame warmups, you're like, okay, and you don't know what to expect. And when they start playing, that's a really intelligent team. They got the right guys shoot the ball on that team. They all crash
Right.
the boards. And they had that guy, kind of the stocky guy that penetrates real well. I can't think of the guy's name.
Yeah.
Hassan, I believe.
Hassan Ahmad. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that is a really really deceptive team. I'm not going to miss the Patriot games this year at all. Well, let's.
Oh yeah, that's going to be. Yeah, I can't wait to see those matchups again as well.
Yeah, that game is going to be so good. I'm going to drive down there. I'm not even going to rely on NFHS for that one. So, well, Coach, let's talk about let's compare your team a little bit from last year. I mean, we love all our children, so we don't have to say which one's better or which one's worse, but they're different. I mean, Marcus
Yeah,
Rouse,
they're all different.
They're all different. Marcus Rouse, who super sub last year, he goes to UVA with my son. He made the practice team. He's doing great.
Right.
How are Ashton Pratt and Braylon Wheeler doing?
Yep. I started with Ashton Pratt. Ashton Pratt is at Virginia Union. He's basically got a redshirt in this particular year. I think they had 6 seniors, and he didn't want to waste his year trying to fight for minutes. He said he'd rather wait till next year. So he ended up redshirting. So he practices with the team and everything. And once they go on the road, he just be in the gym. But he's getting the work in. I see it from time to time. He come home a little bit. He's looking good, looking in shape. Still able to fill the hoop up. And then you got Braden Wheeler, who's doing an excellent job over at IMG, running the point over there on the post grad team. He's been on a couple of visits. He went to ODU for a visit, and he's went to Longwood for a visit. And I think he's setting up Elon visit coming up soon as well. And it's just still trying to figure it out. Hopefully, he lands somewhere. It's still one of the best point guards I've ever had. I've coached.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm in a minority here when I say that, but he's one of the best point guards I've ever seen in Northern Virginia. And I think the reason why he doesn't get the credit he deserves, he's probably not, that high a score as some of the point guards we've seen, but he can shoot clutch threes. He's got vision in a half court game, which I haven't seen many guards that can find people in a half court game like he can. I don't know how he sees them. But the thing he really did last year, he could dominate a game defensively. He could change a game, especially your patented third quarter runs you guys have made last year. It was very devastating what he would do. But let's go to this year's team. Now, first of all, we'll start with the big three. David King, Greg Jones, and DJ Holloway. All are still doing their thing, playing good team ball and very consistent.
Yes. Starting off the season on a high note, if you still winning, it's a good thing. But I feel like we're not as sharp as I'd like to be right now. But we're getting better each day in each game. I feel like David is starting off, man. I think he's averaging 20 and 8 right there, or 20 and 9 right now to start the season, which is phenomenal for David. And he's still able to produce at a high level, even though everybody knows who the kid is by now. He just does everything the right way, man. It's right. Sometimes you don't even realize how well he's playing. Then you look at the stats, he's like, this kid had 20 and 8 again. It don't be seeming like it sometimes, but I guess that's just how the game goes. Because it's not flashy. I'll say that it's not flashy. It just gets the job done. Yeah. And then you have DJ Holloway, who's starting the season off very well too. Yeah, I think he's averaging about 16, 17 a game, and he's doing a little bit of everything for us. He's scoring the basketball, getting into the paint, dropping it off to David, kickouts to Greg and Jaleel, and things of that nature. And he's doing, I feel like he's doing a great job as well. And he's been getting a couple of offers, and he should be. And this is the best part, is that he should be committing soon, probably around January 23rd.
Oh,
yeah, so that'll be coming out fairly soon within the next couple weeks, week or two, and then you got Greg Jones, who's got off to a bit of a slow start, scoring wise, but he continues to do everything for us and makes mismatch problems for a lot of other teams. And he's been hampered by an ankle injury pretty much since the Silverdale scrimmage. I feel like every every other day he's out of practice, out of a game for a certain part of the minutes because he's having ankle problems, and hopefully we can get that stronger so that he can finish the season throughout the so he can finish the season. But all in all, man, the big three is the big three, and they're leading our guys to some good victories so far that we have this year, and or last year, and then now we're we're going into 2023. Hopefully we can continue to keep this train moving.
Yeah. One thing about Greg creates a lot of matchup problems. So even if he's not scoring a lot of points on a daily basis, you can't leave him open, and he opens things up for other people, which is key. About David, I was talking to Jason Coleman about the Archbishop Ryan game that you guys played a team from up in Philadelphia, and they have a big, and everyone was talking about this big. Yeah. Jason, he said, I don't know how David's going to do against this big. I'm like, Jason, the thing about David is he's got such lower body strength. Not many people are used to a guy with that kind of lower body strength. So real tall guys are going to have a hard time with his lower body. Now, if you put David in the ACC against a bunch of bigs, maybe it's a different story. But if you put David on one big, they're going to have a hard time with his lower body strength. So so
he's sneaky. He's sneaky kid.
I mean, he was in the Patriot game. He was the dominant player, which was a great game. So let's hear a little bit about your new players. John Awoke, Donovan Bass-Briscoe. John Awoke was from Fairfax Christian, I believe.
National Christian.
National Christian, and then Donovan Bass-Briscoe was from West Potomac. But I know you had a couple more. So let's hear about your new players.
Yep, and then the other kid is Jaleel Jackson from the Potomac School from Mount McLean.
Okay. And
then you have Owen Pottenberg, who military kid, moved in from Jacksonville. I forgot what high school he went to, but he moved in from Jacksonville, Florida. And so he's here now, 2020. Both Jaleel and Owen are both 2024 kids. But I want to speak about Donovan Bass-Briscoe first because he has been a highlight for our team, man, so far. He's been playing phenomenal basketball. So I said this before, he's not Braylon, but he's getting it done in his own way, his own flair, in his own fashion, and still making everything run as smooth as possible. I gave him the basketball like after going through the whole fall and everything, seeing how everything was played. It was a no-brainer to like make him our quote-unquote point guard for this particular season. So everybody handles the basketball, but he's handling it the most, getting our guys into our sets, running plays. He's also another guy who passes the ball extremely well, finding guys in tight situations, and he's done a hell of a job, man, for us. And he's also a fun kid to be around, man. Like the kids love him. He's integrating himself through and through with the guys. So that's why I think everything is going so well for us so far. So you got him, and then you got John Awoke, who's finally been able to play. He missed the first couple of games, but now he's back. We've been slow walking him thus far, but I think that he's going to start playing a lot more coming up in 2023. So if you don't see, you might not see him that much in the Lewis game, but in that game versus Jackson Reed on January 7th, you're going to see him a lot.
Okay.
And then you got Jaleel Jackson, who he reminds me of Ashton a little bit, left-hand version of Ashton. Shooter, can put it on the ground. Also can make some passes. Just combo guardish. They could do a little bit of everything. Defends.
What class is he? Is he a junior or a senior?
He's a junior, 2024. And then Owen Pottenberg comes off the bench for us, gives David a rest. 6'7", rebounds the basketball, block shots.
Wow.
Finishing decently around the rim, still getting better in that realm. But I feel like we have a good nucleus for sure.
Yeah. What about is Andy Ramirez? He was a Dominican kid that played some big minutes in the state final last year. Is he still coming off the bench and getting some minutes?
Yeah. Yep. Andy's pretty much our sixth or seventh man. He comes off the bench. He hasn't played a lot. He's actually in DR right now visiting his mom because he hasn't seen her in 2 years. Oh. So he's been away for a little bit, but yeah, he's a big part of our rotation for sure. Him, Sean Burton is another piece that we use. He's a 2024 kid as well. Rebounder, can hit open look, guards, all 5 positions, and Braylon Cage, who's a shooter that comes off the bench for us, who's a senior. That's pretty much rounds out our. I feel like we're way more deeper because I'm gonna keep mentioning more and more kids, but we have different pieces of players that we can throw at people so that keep people off balance a little bit.
Has it been hard to get the chemistry together? Because those are a lot of new pieces. I mean, you got three solid bedrock to build on, and then you have, like, I guess you mentioned 7. I guess Andy was in the mix last year as well. But has it been hard to get the chemistry down?
No, it hasn't. So I'll say 2 things that we've done throughout the whole fall and even through our season. We've been like, our starters, quote unquote, have all been mixed with all the players, and so we've been keeping it separate for the most part. And then when we need to bring them together so that our starters, top 6, 7 guys, can start get that chemistry, we've been able to do it. And it's all a testament to our players, man. They're all unselfish kids. Everybody want to see each other win. So, like, we want to win at the end of the day. So some people are down in their game some so that other people can, get open looks, and we don't have to force things as much. So, our kids are very unselfish and they play the right way. So that makes us a pretty dangerous team.
Yeah, one thing I like about what you guys are doing, and other teams are doing too, is you guys played a very tough non-district schedule, and it's satisfying for a fan of the game because of the 6 classifications. There's a lot of matchups we're just not going to see, and then of course you got private school and you got schools from DC that you're not going to match up with in high school playoffs. But does it create problems for the girls team, the girls team, and also your JV team when you're playing a schedule with so many teams from far away? Like, is it hard to get all the scheduling correct when you have a nationally known, recognized team? But the girls team might be on a little bit different path. I haven't really kept up. And then you have your JV team, and you may not want to take them to Tidewater for a JV game. Who knows? Maybe it doesn't make sense. So how does that work?
I know I'll probably make life hell for my AD with the way that I do my scheduling, because he has to figure out, all the moving parts of making sure that our JV freshman guys have 16 games no matter what. But I think most of it was the region covered like 14 games, so they only had to find 2 games, and we were able to figure that out. When it comes to our freshman and JV, for the varsity side, our schedules are scheduled with the 16 games, and then and then it's up to the girls coach to go figure out who they're going to play. So it doesn't have to be a 1-for-1 where they have to play. Like, say we go play Woodside, they don't have to go down there and play Woodside. They can go play someone else. So.
Well, before we get to the Woodside game, that's a nice win. Opening night was Patriot, and that had a almost a prize fight type, definitely a postseason type atmosphere, because that was a matchup we didn't see last year because Patriot got upended by Battlefield in the state playoffs. Thought it was a great game. Thought either team could have won. Both teams had leads. The other team was able to get back in the game. You were getting your team together for the first time in a regulation game, whereas Sherman probably had a little bit more continuity from the year before. What did you think about? What did you think about that game?
I mean, I think it went as well as it could. I felt like, for us personally, we missed 19 free throws.
Yeah, you did.
So that, I feel like that was another reason why the game was as close as it was. But I do believe that just made it even more primed if we were able to get to the championship, to have that game. If both teams are fortunate enough to get to the championship, that'd be more prime for us to have a great showing, and hopefully a lot of people come out and watch that basketball game. But within that game, a kid emerged that I never even talked about in the scouting report. The Bates kid, I think he had like 17 or 19 versus us. And when I tell you, I didn't say not one word about that kid, and he came out and was killing us. So and I've been keeping track a little bit. He's been like one of their leading scorers pretty much throughout the whole season. So Sherman finds a way to keep these guys tucked away until it's their time.
Yeah. They had another kid on the bench, came off the bench. I think he had 13 or 14 that day as well. And another guy, I didn't see him last year, even though Sherman said I think he was on varsity, but he also had some big threes and some steals as well.
A kid did have some big threes. I don't even know who that. I don't know
Yeah,
which kid that is,
yeah. It's a
but
Middle
I
East.
know I do remember him. Yeah, yeah, he did hit a couple threes. He hit a three once when Nas fouled out. You know, we was able to breathe a little bit, and then that kid, as soon as he comes in the game, he hits a three to cut it to two. And I was like, oh man, here we go again.
Well, it was
But that
also
was a great
nice.
game.
It was a great game. It was nice to see the development of David. Dave was the kind of kid, as we talked about before, you don't expect him to get better because you feel like what you see is what you get with him. But I
Right.
was surprised that he even went to another level this year. That surprised me. The Nasser Coleman kid, he reminded me of Braylon a little bit. He has the same kind of qualities Braylon has on the
Right.
video. The vision in the half court set. And also I also appreciate Isaiah Vick. He's really coming
Yeah.
along as well. Dwight's kid. So it was nice to see these kids, and I've gotten to know them all pretty well.
Yeah. Nah, Sherman has a good team filled with a bunch of 2024 talent. That hopefully a lot of college coaches come and check those guys out because he got some next level players. CJ Vick's gonna get all the love because he's 6'6", 6'7", but the Desmond Hopkins kids can really fill it up. Nasir Coleman, like you said, I feel like he's an excellent basketball player. And then you got Jay Randall, who I think has been getting some football love.
Yeah.
But he could hoop too. So it's just, they got some guys, man.
Yeah, Coach Sherman, I hope he's listening. He always talks about how his teams couldn't beat the teams that when he played. This team, I think, could beat his Potomac team, but I know he's going.
He's going to definitely say no to that.
Oh yeah, I think
he's on the team.
Yeah, exactly. I think Nasser Coleman can lock. I think Nasser Coleman can lock them up, but Sherman's never going to admit to that. Well, then another game, you went down and you played Stephen Welsh's Woodside team. Stephen Welsh was a state champion as a player, great guard. I believe he coaches the team, and I believe his son's on the team. What was that game like?
Now that game was great, man. It was great for us to go down there, playing that. It was the Princess Anne tournament, so we played at Princess Anne's, a neutral floor. The rest were pretty good about letting us play through things. I think even though one of my kids fouled out, but it's a competitive game, back and forth pretty much the whole game. DJ had an excellent game in that game. I think he had about 22 points, and then everybody else chipped in. And, David still had like 18. Greg had 9. Jaleel had 6. John, I think that was John's first game. Maybe it might have been his first game. He had about 5 or 6. We had some guys come off the bench and give us great minutes, like Sean and Andy gave us great minutes off the bench. So with that game, we kind of like started taking control in the third quarter for real. That's when we started taking control. I think with them, they've been so they're an athletic team, but we're athletic as well. And the thing with them, like they heavily rely on their defense and pressure and trapping and things of that nature. But they couldn't speed us up. They couldn't, our guards did a hell of a job that game and not turning the basketball over. Getting into our offensive sets, and they couldn't speed us up. They couldn't turn the ball over us. So I feel like they had to play a different style of game than they've been accustomed to this particular year. So it was a different game for them, and they realized very quickly that we wasn't going to get pushed around, pumped, and none of those things of that nature. Because we play these type of games so that one, we know that Woodside's supposed to be one of the better teams down in 757. I'm always trying to play the best team down there because 757 has this stigma about them that they feel like they're the best teams, football and basketball.
And they'll let you know it too.
And they let you know about it. So, I like to go down there and and humble them a little bit when we can. So I'm glad, Courtney from Woodbridge, he's supposed to do the same thing, man. But they end up losing the game down the stretch. But it was a good game though, and got to humble them a little bit, and came back up here. So it was good. It was a good win.
I think you guys established last year that you guys have an edge to you. This is not a Northern Virginia team of the past. When I played, it was the notion that the teams down in Tidewater could rough us up a little bit. Back in the 80s, that they used to talk about. I didn't necessarily believe it's true, but that was what the that was what people said about us. That was that was a wrap on us. And I thought you guys established last year when you went down, you destroyed what was a team from the beach with down on hand.
Yeah. Lansdowne.
Lansdowne, and then you beat John Marshall by 20 in Petersburg.
Right.
So I think you would establish it. Well, let's talk a little bit about the I think the Governor's Challenge. You played two teams with great reputations, Archbishop Ryan and Elizabeth. I think Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. How'd the tournament go?
It went good. We got to play versus Archbishop Ryan, who has I think he's a top 100 forward. Man, when I tell you, he's one of the most skilled big men that we've probably played in the past couple of years. A lot of guys get a lot of hype because they're 6'9",
right?
They can run and jump and different. But this kid is actually skilled. He can shoot the basketball, he can put it on the floor, he passes out of double teams well, and he finishes almost everything around the rim. And not to mention that he goes and he's like searching block shots. Like he really goes to go get them. So that's a really I feel like I don't want to say like true high major like Kentucky big, but yeah, he's really good though. And then they had another kid, a left-handed kid that's getting a lot of love from D1s. He had 6 threes versus us. I think his last name is Williams. And then they have another, and then there's another kid number 3 who's getting like Patriot League love. So they got about three D1s on their team that are really high quality basketball players. And I felt like for that particular game we from start to finish we controlled the basketball game. It wasn't at our pace where we wanted to be in the 70s, but we ended up getting to 61, and we held them to 54 points, and we could pretty much control the game the whole time. We did a great job. Our main focus was really trying to limit the big boy as many easy touches as possible. And it was a group effort. David started off on them. Greg was on them. We had Sean Burton on them, and then we had Owen Pottenberg on them. And we just kept throwing bodies at them and trying to make things as hard as possible for them. We fronted the post as much as we can. He still had 20. I think he had 22 points, but it was a tough 22 points.
Yeah. And then the next day, so Tina Jones, I saw it. She had tweeted about the win. I said, and I asked her, I said, Tina, what's up for tomorrow? Is that team supposed to be good? She said, this is going to be a tough game. I think others felt like the second game was going to be easier, but I guess Tina was right.
Yeah. So why it was tough? It was tough because our kids stayed up to 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow.
That's why it was tough. So it was that, man. I feel like it was more that. Like we were sleepwalking into that game, and I could tell in warm-ups that it was going to be one of them type of starts that we had. I didn't think it was going to be as bad as it was. Like before we knew it, we were down 12 or 13 points, man. And I was like, and it was like they finally realized, oh, we got to turn this up. So, I called a timeout once they hit their last shot. And keep in mind, like, they were hitting some good shots as well. I cussed them out at halftime. Well, it started in the second quarter. Once they realized they were down 12, they started to turn up the pressure a little bit with themselves. Because we really wasn't guarding anyone. We was just letting things happen. In the first half, they had 16 paint touches in a half.
Wow.
That's entirely way too much. That means that they was living in the paint, getting kick out threes. So it was their game, it wasn't our game. But in the third quarter, I think we went on a 19-3 run to separate ourselves. And I was trying to get subs in towards the end of the game. But to their credit, they kept playing, they kept fighting, and they ended up. I think they got it down to maybe 6. We were up almost 20, 21. I think we were up 21, and put the subs in, trying to get everybody some playing time, and they ended up cutting it down to like 6 or 5 before we put it back away, and eventually we ended up winning by 10, 83-73. Good, solid team. Got two guys that can play. I heard that 2 of the guys have been heavily recruited, and they got a young kid, a 2025 kid who came in late in the fourth quarter and started doing some things. So he might be a kid to look out for in the future. I have no idea what his name is though.
Yeah.
But I hear that the coach, 31 years, he's a legend up in the New Jersey area. So it's always good. It's always good to play versus these different types of teams that you don't normally see, and for us to get out there with 2 victories versus 2 high quality teams, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, especially in actually being down 10-11, even though it's kind of stressful. and being able
Yeah,
to win
10-11.
it's also good for your team's development as well. Being able to kind of face that adversity as you did last year against Battlefield in the state final, be able to
Right.
climb out of that hole and get back in the game. Well, you're in the meat of your district schedule now. So we got TJ and we got Lewis this week. What are you doing to keep the kids focused and not big headed going in the districts?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's hard to do, but TJ's game 9 times out of 10 is going to get moved to another date, so we're not going to play on Tuesday. So we'll have 3 days to prepare for Lewis: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Prepare for Lewis, and then Friday we get a day to prepare for Jackson Reed, who's the top DC public school team. So can never count on Lewis. Lewis gave us a run for our money last year on our senior night. So, we're not looking past them by any means. Try to take care of business first with Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis, and I think Lewis led Central Friends by 10 points last year in the.
They did, yeah.
So that's basketball. You can never be too hard. Hey, is Steve Miles? Is he still at Jackson Reed?
No, he's at National Christian now.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say. I was going to say if he was a little bit conflicted about playing. Yeah. So what do you know? I mean, this Jackson Reed matchup is exciting. I'm going to be there. Hopefully, Oxy Hill can fit us all in there. I could. That years ago I was there and it wasn't the biggest gym in the world. But what do you know about them? I know they got a top undergraduate, a 24 named Rob Dockery, supposed to be really a top player.
Yeah, man. Rob Dockery is a hell of a player. I got to watch them a little bit. I watched one of their Christmas tournament games. They ended up losing by 2 in overtime, but they was controlling the game the whole time, so it was kind of weird. I got to really lock in on that game to see, because I was just skimming through while we were driving. But Rob, everything starts with Rob Dockery. They run a lot of things through him. They have another kid, Gilmore. I think he's a younger kid, 2024 maybe, 2025. He killed us in the summertime. Very quick guard, high energy, gets a lot of deflections and steals. And I see that he's getting up there and banging it pretty easily these days. And then they got some long athletes that I don't know their names yet. But they got about 3 or 4 guys that they throw at you that's like 6'6", 6'7", couple of 6'5". So they got some big bodies as well that and they're athletic. Like, they're not just big, big guys that just jogging up and down the court. They're actually big athletic guys. And I've seen a couple of them hit the 3. They shoot the ball pretty well too. I forgot the one kid's name. Bridges, it might be Bridges. About 6'3", 6'4" guard. I think he's a senior this year. He's one of their better shooters, and then they got some kids that can get downhill and make life hard for you. So talented team, very talented team. Well coached by T. T has been doing an excellent job with those guys since he's gotten the job. And I know everybody wants to see that game. It's literally like the top 2 public school teams in the area for the most part. And I feel like it's going to be a good game. Hopefully we do our part and show up.
Yeah, I'm sure you will, Coach. What Coach T has done is pretty amazing to keep that team at a high level when it's so easy for top players to transfer to private schools that are right there. He's been able to keep that team at a high level. You got to take your hat off to him.
Yeah, the Gilmore kid actually transferred from Gonzaga to Jackson Reed.
Is that
so
right?
He's able to get that too. And I think I mentioned this to someone else. They play a tough schedule as well, and like their schedule might be a little bit more tougher than ours. So they've been battle tested a couple more times than we have. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that game goes, and and I feel like this should be a game where Greg does a lot more scoring in this particular game. So I always feel like when it's a big time game, your best players need to show up, and I think he will.
I remember in the state championship, that statement that Greg made in the first possession of the game, came out and hit a 3-pointer, like, gentlemen, we're here to play today. And that's what Greg does. So we all know how great Greg is. So there's a lot of great basketball left to play. The most important basketball is still left to play this year. So I'm sure we'll see a lot of it.
Coach, for sure.
So Coach, so people will know, game is at 2:00 at Oxon Hill on Saturday, the Jackson Reed game.
No, so game's at 7:00 at Jackson Reed. At Oxon Hill. 7:00 at Oxon Hill. There's about 5 games going on that day. So, and it's all high quality games throughout from teams from the DMV. more from the BC and Maryland side, but high quality games.
Yeah. Are people going to need to get there early to be able to get into the gym, you think?
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know who the game is before us, but yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I did a AAU tournament at Oxon Hill High School, back in the 90s. And it was a regular old fashioned, a typical wooden old gym
Yeah,
like Edison. That was my recollection, but it's been a long time, and maybe they've gotten on some
yeah. It's a
renovations.
little, it's a little bigger than that. It's bigger than Addison for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, the bleachers go up higher.
Yeah, because if it was like that, it would be tough to get a game of that magnitude, get into a
Yeah,
game of
right,
that magnitude. So
right.
yeah. So, well, Coach, this has been great. I hope you feel better. Thanks for you're a good sport for coming on anyway. Congratulations on an amazing 2022. Do you have any New Year's resolutions for 2023? Are you going to be undefeated again in 2023?
I mean, I would love for that to happen, but if it doesn't happen, we're cool with that as long as we're able to play in the last game and have a chance to win a championship.
That's right. As long as the kids are getting better and you're having fun, so they can ask
Yeah,
for it.
man. And, we try our best to make it as fun as possible for them, but we really do. When we practice, we practice, and I gave him a stern speech after our game versus Elizabeth because I hated the way that we played in that game, and just telling them like don't take anything for granted. Like this is how teams get upset is by playing the way that we played in that first half of last game. So hopefully they heard my message, heard it loud and clear, and we're able to keep this train moving in 2023.
Yeah, I'd also think if the team is not playing great, at least you have more options this year than you had last year in terms of you can put other guys into the game. Last year you were pretty much set with your top six, and
Yeah.
Andy, like I said, Andy came in and had a nice state final, and I think a couple other kids did as well. But I don't think you had the comfort level with your bench as you have this year.
Nah, last year I had heartburn when I was throwing guys in and trying to help, but like this year I feel a lot more comfortable going to my bench and plucking a player up and telling them to come up, man, and give one of our starters a break. I feel way more comfortable. And also, I got a freshman. I hate to talk about freshmen, but I have a freshman named Phoenix Card who I haven't been giving a lot of time to thus far, but he's going to be a heck of a basketball player for us in the upcoming future. And and he's going to have one of them games where everybody's going to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I can't wait to see him, Coach.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for what you do. I think that the Hayfield success has really made the basketball season even that much more fun. Everyone's got somebody to shoot at. Everyone's going to give you guys 100%. So there's going to be some games when you're going to be like, man, these guys have never played this good, but everyone's going to be trying to knock you guys out. But it really adds to the basketball season. Wish you luck. It'll be two historic seasons in a row if you can pull it off. But I guess as a coach, you just have to take them one game at a time. Is that right?
Yeah, 1,000%, man. Taking one game at a time, one practice at a time, and hopefully continue to get better, and continue to earn these W's every single night. Like that's what I want at the end of the day, and hopefully we do that. Hopefully in March, we've done what we accomplished, what we came to accomplish.
Well, you've taken care of business so far. So again, Coach, this has been great. Hopefully, I'm sure I'll be talking to you again during the season and definitely during the postseason. But I'll see you on Saturday.
Will do. Hey, Julian, are we gonna do the group thing again?
Well, every time I suggest it, I can't get anybody to jump in. So I'm, I think what's happening is, you guys have won so many games. Patriots won so many games. I don't, maybe people feel like it's bad luck for them. I don't know, but we're gonna get something together. But every time I suggest it, nothing ever happens. So
yeah. All good.
Yeah, I'm up for it. I mean, we have great discussion, and of all the videos I put out there, those are the most popular that I do when I have all you guys on and you're jawing at each other.
Right.
People love it. Lots of good information.
People do love it. They be looking forward to it too.
Yeah.
They be thinking it's supposed to be happening every Sunday. I was like, nah, I don't think it's that much.
I think we can get into a rhythm, and I think I'm going to try to get one in football going. I don't know anything about football though, so I got to study. But I think people enjoy it, and the coaches get a chance to talk about real issues too, about recruiting, about officiating, about all the things that come up, athletic directors, and all the things that make your job more challenging. So we'll get them. We'll get them together.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Coach. Good luck. I'll see you on Saturday.
All right, have a good one.
How about you too?